Hello everybody and welcome back to Sunshine Islands. It is now the 5th day of fall, which brings us to our cow festival. Now, I don't have a lot to talk about before the festival because we've only had a few days in the fall season so far and only a few days since our last recording, so I don't have too much to talk about. I have made a few notes to talk about a few minor changes. One of the things that we're going to be doing after the festival is chopping down our mature rice in our paddy. We have about half of it ready to go right now. But I actually can't do that right now because my sickle doesn't have the ability to cut down anything other than regular grass. But everything is going to be open after the festival today because it is a Wednesday. And I'm going to be making a stop over at Chen's as well as to Gannon's. So hopefully we're gonna get back into a good winning streak with our festivals here because we submitted our fully maxed out 10 heart cow to Mirabelle yesterday, and for some reason I thought that we won this festival already last year, but I was mistaken and we actually only got second place. So this year that is obviously going to change, and we're going to be able to win. Luckily, with some of these festivals, luck isn't a factor. It's just based on an arbitrary heart/affection amount, which is good because there's a lot of luck and randomness in this game already. So it'll be good that our cow will win because we'll be able to get some S quality milk from it, which will allow us to make a little bit more money. We'll get some higher quality products. And I thought it was going to be raining a lot in this season, and rain would have actually sort of helped me here because a rainy day might have gotten me, you know, a better wonderful, but unfortunately we're stuck with another yellow. Hooray! As I slowly die inside. But we can actually make use of that yellow wonderful because we can put it onto our sickle and we can then go and take care of our rice paddy. But I'm going to do the rice paddy last. So I'm going to head on out. And we might as well go to Gannon's first, just because it's the farthest away. And I've been thinking about what other upgrades that I would like to do. I've been trying to save up my lumber. You can see that I have 379 pieces, which is pretty decent. And if we go to the build menu, there's really not a lot left. I mean, we could do some minor upgrading in the barn and the coop. We could add on some of the additional additions to the house if we wanted to. But really, the big thing, for me anyways, in my mind, that I would like to get before the end of the game is the greenhouse. And with the amount of money that we've been making, we could probably just save our money and buy it outright, if I'm being honest, because you can see that we have a ton of money that I still haven't really touched. I've barely spent anything at all. So, I mean, we have one of two options here. We could just buy it outright. It is much more expensive to do it that way, but money is kind of bordering on being no object at this point. Or we could go ahead and build it using our own lumber. But in order to do that, we have to have our supply shed upgraded. So what my plan is to upgrade the capacity of the supply shed, which is going to cost us $5,000 if we use our own lumber. So I figured what I would do is just buy a few stacks of lumber from Gannon here and add it into our shed. And then go ahead and ask for him to do that for us. Because we are currently only able to hold 999 pieces of lumber, and obviously we need to go beyond that. So we're just gonna do that for now. And then we'll kind of go from there. We'll see what seems to be the best option. It is still cheaper for us to buy all of the lumber with our own money and ask Gannon to do it using our own lumber. We've sort of already established that. It is still going to be cheaper, so I think regardless, that's probably the best option. Alright, I need to pick a tool first, and then we need to pick our wonderful. So if we put a yellow wonderful in our sickle, it'll allow us to cut down any sort of grains, which includes rice. So now that I've covered those couple of things, I'm gonna go and grab some rice and then demonstrate how to use the thresher and the flour mill, because we've had them for a little while now, but I haven't really talked about it. I haven't forgotten about them, but I did want to wait until we actually had some rice available to demonstrate with. So I might as well just cut down both rows here. Both columns, I guess, would be more accurate. And that will give us a lot of rice to work with. We're gonna have to wait a few days for the rest of this to come in, but I don't think it'll be too much longer. I do believe that I planted all of that stuff pretty close together. Alright, so now that we are in the maker shed, we have the thresher and the flour mill. So last year we had grown this rice, and there wasn't really anything that we could do with it. We just sold it, I think is what I did with it. I kept a little bit in my cabinet, but for the most part, I just sold it because I wasn't sure when I was going to be getting the thresher and the flour mill available. So when you have reaped rice, it has to go through a thresher in order to really be useful. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually put all of this through the thresher for now, because there's no point in not doing that. You don't get a lot of money for selling the reaped rice on its own, and if you put the reaped rice through the thresher, you get just regular rice. And this has a lot of advantages, mostly in cooking. If you've been paying attention to your cookbook and you've been trying to fill out your cookbook and get recipes, you will notice that a ton of recipes will call for rice. And I should have gone over this when I was at Chen's. He should still be open until 10 if I can run over there really quick. I think I've missed it now. Oh, no, there he is. I was gonna say, if we go into his menu, you can see that rice costs $1,200 for one single piece. And up until you start putting your reaped rice through the thresher, to my knowledge, this is the only way to get rice. So it is a gigantic pain if you want to make any dish that requires rice, basically. And if I just go back to my house and I kind of just scroll through even just one section of my recipe list, you can kind of see what I mean. If I go to my main course page here and I just kind of scroll down, you can see that there are a lot of dishes in here that will require rice. And so it locks you out of being able to cook a lot of stuff if you don't have rice. And there are a lot of dishes that require rice that are really, really great for befriending people. There's a lot of high-level recipes that are great for increasing your cooking level. You can sell recipes and dishes that you make for quite a bit of money, and so on and so forth. So for me personally, most of what I get from the rice patty, I just make into rice and I keep in my fridge and I cook with it. Now, if you're worried about the quality of the rice decreasing, say you have 100, reaped pieces of rice and you don't plan on cooking with 100 rice right away, what I would suggest is keeping the reaped rice in the cabinet. These 25 pieces have been in my cabinet since last year, and they haven't decreased in quality pretty much whatsoever. So if you're not sure what you want to do with this after you've cut it down from the patty, I would just recommend keeping it in your cabinet until you can decide what you want to do with it. So that kind of just goes over the thresher briefly. Now, once we have rice, what we can do is we can take this rice and say I want to take 10 rice and I want to put it through the flour mill. Well, now I can process that rice further down into rice flour. I don't necessarily recommend doing that with rice because rice flour is not as versatile It doesn't sell for as much money as selling rice would, first of all. You can use rice flour to obtain 2 different recipes, so it's probably not a bad idea to have a few of them to unlock recipes in your cookbook and to have a few laying around to be able to cook with, but it's just far more useful, in my opinion, to be able to make rice. So if you're curious, shipping the reaped rice and the rice flour is identical in price. You'll get the exact same amount of money. And if you decide to ship rice, you'll get a little bit more, but not much. So overall, rice just beats rice flour out for me completely, totally, 100%. Usefulness, how much you can ship it for, etc. Now, there are some other grain crops that we are missing currently in this game. We are able to grow wheat and soybeans, and those are things that we can also put through the flour mill. And that is a little bit more useful, especially wheat. But at this time, I will probably be using the flour mill later after we have the opportunity to grow a few more grain type of products. And the reason that we haven't unlocked those is because we haven't quite grown and shipped 100 crops in each season. So if you grow 100 turnips, potatoes, cucumbers, and strawberries, you'll unlock a certain type of grain. I think it's wheat, although I could be wrong. And then if you grow 100 of each summer crop, I do believe you get access to soybeans. And then if you grow and ship 100 of each of the fall crops, you'll get access to buckwheat. And then from there, you can grow those and then chop them and put them through these machines to further refine them and then go from there. So for me, I will probably be unlocking the sunstone for using the Thresher 100 times pretty quickly, because I do plan on making so much rice. I will keep a little bit of rice flour around, but not too much. And that was pretty much all I wanted to cover. That was kind of all I had written down to sort of include in this video. So I've got a few days to play before our harvest festival on the 10th day of fall, so I may or may not have anything interesting or exciting to talk about. I sure hope that I do. But in any case, that pretty much does it for me and this video. So hopefully you have enjoyed, and hopefully you will join me next time, and I want to thank you so very much for watching.